Hello, how are you? I wanted to come on live tonight to share with you some thoughts about what is it that we truly want in life. Actually, just came back from a little get together with my PA friends, these wonderful, amazing women. Hi, Marina, how are you? So I was just out with a few of my close friends some of them from college, some of them from work. And we're all kind of in different parts of our life, but we're all PAs, we're all moms. And we were just like sharing, like when you sit down and you just engage and you share. So I just came back so full and like my cup was filled. When you're with people and you just feel good. That's kind of how I felt today. So shout out to Yocheved and some of my other girls who were there too. So I was thinking, I get thoughtful like this. By the way, how awesome is this? This is my weight workouts. My friend Diana, who's my trainer, she gave them to me so that I can work out because I'm working out, okay? Self-care. Okay, so what is it that we truly want in life? This is something I was thinking about. Just, what is it that each of us, like, we're living through this human experience? Do you ever sit and think, like, what is this human experience? Like, do you ever get out of yourself and wonder, oh my God, like, what is this? It is so bizarre, and just like I'm thinking about myself thinking. Anyway, I do think like that sometimes, and I was thinking about that today, and I put together some thoughts. Each of us, if we really thought about it, each of us deep down, we really truly want to feel alive. Like, we just want to feel like we're living. And for many of us, that means to connect to others and also to contribute higher than anything else in what we do, higher than our talents and higher than how achievable, how much we've achieved in life, is our ability and our necessity, like our need to contribute to the world. And if it's not to the world, it's really on a very like even microscopic level, to be able to contribute to our child, to our spouse, to our friend. How many times have we had this where, like I've had this, where I get on a phone call with a friend who's having a troubling situation, or a sibling or sister, and after hanging up, I feel so humble and grateful to be able to have contributed to that friend and being able to like help her in some way, right? Like, isn't that like so empowering to know that you can help someone? That right there, that's called living. And I feel like that's really when we most feel alive. A lot of us want to contribute in these lofty ways, like make a non-for-profit, or write a really great book, or achieve high levels at work, or do something really amazing with themselves. But deep down, it's really about being able to connect and contribute. And that's something I think each of us has this ability to impact others. Not many of us really realize this. I mean, on a really deep and profound level, I think we each know deeply that this is true. But many of us kind of don't acknowledge it regularly, that you have this incredible impact. And one of the girls I was with, she's a single mom, and she really embodies her power. Like, because she's a single mom, she realizes she's alone in the relationship to raise her child, raise her children. She is super intentional because she understands her power and her impact. So many of us kind of like walking through life in this like fog where it's not so obvious to us how much of an impact we can have. Only when we're forced to step up, right? When we're not that we want to step it up, but we're forced to step it up because we're like forced into single motherhood or something, like my friend was. And she's incredibly powerful and knows her impact. Okay, so here's the thing. To know your impact in this world, it's really about focusing on your mindset. For example, my friend who is a single mom, she can choose to think like, woe is me, because she had a husband who, for whatever reason, had a problem. I'm not going to go into details, but like a really serious problem, even though she took him back and she let him go after that. But she realized her mindset wasn't about, he's a problem and my life became a problem and I have no control over the fact that I had children with this guy. Now I'm dealing with the fact that he's kind of like messed up. She didn't turn it into, and so many of us do this, where we turn it into kind of a victim, where I'm the product of my situation and I can't control the outcome of the situation. And as much as we try not to like be obvious about it, we try to be impactful and we can do it. A lot of times, if you're paying attention to the words coming out of your mouth, they're not always empowering, because you're saying things like, he left me no choice, I was alone, I couldn't do anything, because of that my children are being raised in this difficult situation. If you work on your mindset, like this friend of mine who is incredible, instead of saying I can't, or I'm not, or I don't have that, right? Because maybe she can't raise her kids with her husband, and maybe she's not maybe giving her child the same things that, let's say, a child of two parents can have. She doesn't talk like that. In fact, she says, I'm learning to understand how to be a better parent for my child, both as a mom and a dad, because she's the whole package for this child right now, for her children. Or things like, I'd like to develop better skills and how to parent my child better. So powerful, the mindset, right? So powerful. And how many of us really recognize that's really within our control? We don't, because we think we're forced into this situation where we're like, I can't, I could think like that too. I was talking to my friend about that year that I graduated college, and it was a pretty crappy year, okay? If you can rate how bad things were, it was like a 10 out of 10. And I could have said the things that I started saying, and I could have continued with that, which is really depressing. My brother died in a very, very bad way, or both of my grandmas died right after that. It was really, really bad. Or like how my marriage was suffering because I was so tapped out mentally and emotionally, and I was in school. So I could have made that my story. But if we focus on our mindset and we understand that that's in our control, as hard as it is in our control, as hard as it is to think like that, once we practice using that muscle, like this, look, I couldn't even lift this in the beginning. What is this, 4 pounds? I could only lift 2 pounds. Where's this? This is 3 pounds. As hard as it is to lift a really good mindset of 5 pounds, you can do it by practicing smaller mindsets, like smaller thinking, where you take baby steps, where you think like empowering thoughts, even though most of your thoughts are disempowering and like exhausting, because you're in a very like difficult situation right now, whatever the case may be. You can pick up the 3 pounds, the small mind, and lift it by thinking, maybe this challenge is teaching me how to become better. Maybe from this experience, my children are developing skills that will help them in life. For example, my friend who's a single mom, and she's not happy that her children's father is the way he is, or whatever happened to him. She's not happy with that. That's just the life that they're given. But she's learning to adjust to that reality and using it to her advantage. Okay. And how? Really back to the habits. So people think habits are like what you eat, what you sleep, what you drink, how you sleep. It's really also how you think. People have a habitual way of thinking a certain way. Start to pay attention to how you think. I mean, just notice when something happens, how you respond. Are you aggressive? Are you upset? Are you judging? Are you frustrated? And what's the words that are going through your mind? Because the words, the thoughts are creating those feelings. And those feelings, those are temporary. If you change your thoughts, you can actually switch that up by working on that habit. Isn't that powerful? That's something that I've learned. I don't know if you've seen that with yourself, but it's a very powerful thing. And another thing that was a big, big piece of the conversations that we had tonight was who you surround yourself with. If you powerful, if you surround yourself with even one or two good friends and distance yourself from environments that don't encourage your good habits, your good thinking habits, if you surround yourself with people who smile, who laugh, who encourage, who when you call them you feel uplifted, even if sometimes they're not always 100% uplifting, but most of the time they are, right? Surround yourself with people who offer you perspective on the things that you're limited in seeing right now. Surround yourself with people who aspire higher, who contribute more to themselves and more to the people, because that's how we learn to become better, by seeing others who are better. A lot of times people want better for themselves. Thank you for that, love, whoever that was. A lot of times people want better for themselves, but they're lacking seeing what that looks like. They have to attach themselves. It says in Pirkei Avos, make yourself a friend. And that means a few different things. Either buy yourself a book, like something that will help you grow into a bigger mindset, better thinking. And also means connecting to people who have higher aspirations, who've gone further in life, who've done things and contributed and kind of survived a lot. Surround yourself with those people, and that will give you the motivation and promote you further. And I want to just end with this. Motivation is a fickle thing. A lot of us, and I work with a lot of clients who they tell me, Esther, I need you to motivate me to lose the weight. I need you to keep me motivated. And I really believe motivation is like when you go to the mall and you go to the perfume section and there's all this perfume, right? And you walk by, everything smells great, right? It's like touching you. You walk out of there and the smell is on you. You didn't even put any perfume on you. It's just there. That's similar to motivation that's passing by. It's kind of like not in your control. You just pass by and it just attracts itself to you. That's something like that motivation when somebody calls me, I'm ready to lose weight. I'm ready to be motivated. That's a fickle thing. It'll pass by and then it's gone. However, motivation can also be you putting your own perfume on intentionally every day, not because you're lucky to pass by a hallway with perfume because you were in the mall, but you made the intention of remembering why you want it. Every day you get back to the basics and not waiting to be inspired, not waiting to be motivated. And that's really the difference between people who are successful with, let's say, what I coach them with for the weight loss, and those who kind of step away and say, I'm not ready yet. You can, as long as you have that realization that it won't just come to you. And motivation won't just like pop itself in your life. When you feel it, you'll do it. That's not how people get through marathons. That's not how people get through, and I've had patients with chemotherapy. That's not how they get through chemotherapy or things like that. They have to motivate themselves to realize like what's the goal, what's the purpose, and kind of work through that intentionally. Thank you, Toti Sveta. I appreciate that. I saw your comment. All right, so I am done for the day. I hope you have an awesome, wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining and listening. And I'll tell you something. Being on this Facebook page, whatever this is, I truly am so grateful that I'm able to like contribute on some level to even just one person who feels what my message is. And I want to like make you realize you have this too. Whether it's going on this type of platform or getting on a phone call with a friend because yesterday they told you they're struggling for whatever reason, they're going through something challenging, you taking intentional steps to contribute to someone else's life, that's called living. That's called really embracing life. Because at the end of the day, at the end of your lifetime, you're not going to be counting your dollar bills in the bank account. I mean, it's great to have, right, to contribute to your children. But I believe strongly, and I've spoken to people who have been on their deathbed. I've spoken to so many when I was working in the chemo floors. And at the end, and in palliative care teams too, I've worked with them too. Shout out to Dr. Pan if she's watching. So at the end, the regret that they have, it's not that they didn't do more. It's that they didn't give more quality of themselves. There's a big difference between doing and becoming. Like, I can do work. I can go to work, clock in, clock out. But then becoming who I'm capable of, that's on a different level. And that happens like in the in-between moments. When you are clocking in at home, at work, and let's say you're offering yourself to contribute, to help be that missing piece of the puzzle in a world that is so chaotic and requires some semblance of guidance, and you're that piece in that moment. You're that guidance. Recognizing that and living in that, living in tune with your soul. It really means existing in a world with your identity, being true to yourself. Not just kind of like being what everybody wants from you or needs from you, but really being who you're capable of, being honest with yourself and realizing, and that right there is realizing how great you're really capable of being. You know, Marianne Williamson, I think, said this. People are not afraid of not being great. People are afraid that they are too great beyond their capacity, and that they know they're capable of greatness, but they're afraid of failure because if they try, they can be great beyond their greatest imagination. And she wrote it very well. I'm gonna post it here if I find it, but it was so powerful. I still don't really understand that quote, but I believe strongly that people really want to be great. Everybody wants to contribute. God put in each of us a piece of himself, a piece of godliness. I think that's why we're a little bit egotistical. Each one of us, we feel like we are the center at some point, right? It's hard to think outside yourself. And as the center, you have to realize you can contribute so much. Please don't waste your time on earth because it is limited, especially people who have passed on or close to passing. Their biggest regret is not being more of who they're capable of being, not being more present with the people in their life. I'd love for you to do an exercise tomorrow and just practice going slow. Going slow in those places that you feel rushed, like rushing dinner or rushing through bath time or rushing through having a conversation or rushing to the next thing. Just be present. Just be there, because really that's called really living. This is life, real life, in motion, in real time. We don't get to play rewind. So I had a really nice time tonight. Clearly, I'm so like wired. Thank you so much. It was really awesome. Thank you. Have a great night. Bye.